Oh, buddy. Oh, gotta go live this way. Gotta go. We're all figuring it out, baby. We're all figuring it out. Okay, I'm going to unplug. What's up, everybody? Hey, Larry is gonna join us momentarily. Hey, Annie, everything's great. I feel like I'm having a super good hair day, which is positive for literally everyone. Um, yeah, I think we're like pretty set up. Um, Thanks, Annie. Big thumbs up. Super stoked for this episode with Larry, obviously. I'm about to sit down with Larry Brownlee. For those of you that don't know, my name is Nicholas Brownlee. I have a podcast called Hook, Push, and Pray, which I've had for about a year now. And I sit down with opera stars from around the world and administrators, and we just talk very openly and very honestly and very sometimes aggressively, and we say curse words sometimes about opera and all things opera. And so yeah, so vibes. So we're just waiting on Larry to join us. I'm wearing this like really loud shirt. I've got a banner in the back. HPP, Hook, Push, and Pray. Did that myself. I'm an artist. What do you know? You know what I mean? Yeah, again, it's worth mentioning again. I'm having a great hair day, which is fantastic. Oh, I think he's here. He's going to request to join in a second. Brownlee v. Brownlee, baby. Yeah, and we'll get started. Let's see. Request. Go. Let's see you. Let's see you, baby. Oh, buddy. It's like waiting on Christmas. There he is. What's up, man?
The cousins are together.
And finally, it's happening. Man, your connection is beautiful. You look good.
Oh gosh, right. I'm trying to use that what do you call it? That Da Vinci lighting or some
For
type.
sure. If I showed you my lighting setup, it's embarrassing. That's you
I'm
just
just
did that. That's that like Norman Garrett Solomon Howard move. They're always doing. You know what I mean?
those
Like
guys
y'all,
are
what y'all doing this for? Listen, first things first. That is your name above my bed. Uh, Say what you will about it. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. But I did look at that art that I did.
you're a
Huh?
Canadian too. I think it runs in the family.
Oh, for
We're
sure.
actually separated by birth, long lost cousins, but we found each other years ago. So
Thank God. Listen, I guess the first starter is like, do you have my last name or do I have your last name?
well, I'm much older than you are, so
For
I
sure.
I came before you, so you have my last.
I wear it with pride. I don it with honor. No,
Actually,
it's crazy because not a lot of people spell it with EE.
no, and the funny thing about it, when I did the Met audition years ago,
Yeah.
a lady who came up to me and she said, when I saw your name, Brownlee, I thought we could be related. She was Caucasian, so she said, obviously, maybe we're not, but she said, I am the granddaughter
Oh,
of
we got a little
John.
bug. Little bug. We'll get it back. We'll get it back. We'll get it back. We have lost Larry momentarily.
Here, I have full
Oh,
bars.
we're back. We're back. He's back.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. You were saying that might happen a few times.
Yeah, that's okay. I met, she said, I'm the granddaughter of the great John Brownlee. And so,
Yeah.
baritone John Brownlee, who
Well,
wanted to meet me because she thought we might be related. So there are not that many people who spell it EE. And yeah, so when I saw your name before I saw who you were, I was like, this might be a long lost cousin, but
right.
here
Oh, no doubt. It's me. Hey,
is there.
emphasis on long lost for sure. Well, man. Well, thanks for joining me. And like, this is sort of like our first foray into. Normally, I do this like sitting down in front of people,
Yeah,
sort of like Howard Stern vibes. You know what I mean? And but this is our first foray into what we're doing here. So I'm super stoked about it. So I have to tell you, you are the first opera my parents ever saw at the Met. It was your Tonio in Phil de Regiment. And we were
are you,
sitting on the fourth row. It was in 2011. Does that sound right?
maybe, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
Maybe with Nino Manchete, perhaps.
No, it would have been, yeah, it was with Nina Maitrese.
Okay. And
It,
I love Nina. We've been in a lot of stuff together. She's a great singer, great colleague. But I remember I'm a polite guy, right? I try to be like I make room for people, the whole thing. And my parents are Southern, like we're from Alabama, right? And we're sitting down, and we're like on row 4 at the Met. We got these tickets. I'm super lit, jacked up. My parents are seeing the opera at the Met for the first time. And this lady in front of us, the whole beginning, she wouldn't quit moving, like this older lady. And I
yeah.
was young. I was an idiot. And my parents didn't notice, of course. They weren't thinking anything of it. And this is something I would never do probably ever again. I tapped on her shoulder, and I was like, you have to be still. This is a big opera. This is a big moment. And my mom wheeled around on me, and she was like, no, sir. You do not act like that. That's other than your extraordinary Amaze-a-Me that got 19 minutes of applause. That's what sticks with me more than anything.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that Southern raising and rearing, it came up in the
My
the.
mom was like headed to the Grand Tier to find a switch.
Oh really? Yeah, we used to have to climb the doghouse to get our own switches, so I know that very.
Did you grew up in? Where'd you grow up in Ohio?
Youngstown, Ohio, but my mom and dad are from South. They're from Georgia. My dad's from
Right.
very famous. Well, they're famous for their Vidalia onions, Vidalia, Georgia. And
I
my
love a sweet onion.
and my,
Vidalia, Georgia. Oh,
yeah, love it. My mom's from a place called Glenwood, Georgia, that has like one stoplight, and
sure,
red
sure.
up and raised,
Right.
essentially.
Yeah. That's so wild. So you end up being like raised your whole time in Ohio. Is there? Remind me. There's like some university that plays football in Ohio.
Well,
What's that? I don't recall that. I don't know. But did you go to the Ohio State?
yeah, I mean, you being from Alabama, I'm sure that nothing else exists except
No,
for
sir.
you
No,
know,
sir.
all the way Tide.
For
Uh,
sure.
yes, I am a very proud fan of the great Ohio State football. So yes, I wear that on my sleeve, and everyone knows it. So.
Oh my lord. Oh my lord.
Oh,
So,
oh yes, Lisa.
yeah. Get out of here. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. So tell me, like, how do you, I know, like, your story, a lot of people know your story. I mean, you're a star. The information's out there. But,
Right.
like, what did, sort of, I know you went the gospel route initially. Like,
Mhm.
what is that? How do you get into that? Like, are your parents musicians? Are they involved in it at all?
Well, my mom and dad. My dad, he directed the choir. He sang. He used to sing in groups. He sang. He comes from a musical family, so he sang his whole childhood, and so our house was always filled with music. I'm one of 6 kids. Our families much forced us to sing together.
Sure,
Uh,
sure.
like singing so much, but
One of 6?
yeah, one of 6. My older sister,
Woo!
my older sister's 4 years older than me, and it's 2 in between she and I, and then 1 and 1. So there's 6 within 7 years. We're all close, and so
That's wild.
music was always there, and so I took to it early. I was very shy about singing. I tell people all the time I hated to sing when I was a kid. I would get like
Because you were too close to it, right? You were too close to it. Like it was,
I
yeah.
did it, but
Yeah.
I love to play instruments, and so I my first love was the drums. I wanted to be a drummer.
For sure.
Really wanted to do something like that, play the drums. And at my church growing up, there were so many people who played it, so I couldn't. So I started playing the electric guitar because my dad loved it. Then, but I grew up around music. And so it wasn't until high school that I started being noticed for my voice and became less shy because
Right.
seriously, I'm being honest, people said, if you sing for the girls, they will think you're cute. So
100%.
I was like, I want
100%.
to know.
I like listen, I would love to tell people like and it is true to a degree. Like I fell head over heels in love with opera, and like I watched one performance, and that is part of my story. But the part of like why I got into music was we were at Allstate. I was on the football team, and the coach was like, football chorus is easy being chorus. I went to Allstate, and I they made a major mistake, and they put all the basses right behind the soprano ones. And
Gosh.
I was the only one who had a C. I had a low C in high school, and I don't have it anymore. Funny how life works. But like, I had this boomy, gross, fried big C, right? And we were doing this Whitaker piece, Sleep, and it has a monster C at the end. That has to be like beefy, you know, ballsy.
Yeah.
And I remember the first rehearsal I hit it, and I just like, I looked in front of me, and there was just a line of like 10 beautiful women turning around to look who was hitting it. And then they realized it was me, and I was like, yep, done. Send me to school. Do I need to go to school for this? Great, I'll go to school for it. Do I need to buy a score, a music score? Fine. Like, I was in 100%.
Usually, I mean, baritones that, you know, usually like lyric baritones, they're, you know, no one really cares. Well, people care about it. But if you have like the high voice or the low voice,
Yeah. That's the thing. You just got to have either scream high D's or like rip big low E flats. Like,
yeah.
Anywhere in between. Like no one cares about a lyric baritone's gorgeous approach to an F sharp. Like no one gives a shit about that.
All my baritone friends are they're gonna be like, what?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, come on.
Right now, like Troy Cook is like throwing his phone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Troy. Yeah, I mean, Troy's a great singer. He's probably like, what? Oh my,
great singer. So you know, you start doing that. You hate music. Well, eventually you had to start singing because I have seen you sing.
Yeah.
Before.
But yeah, I mean, I became less shy, and then I used to sing in groups, and you know, I used to really, I guess, the culture or one of the big components of my musical education was I was involved in show choir. So the first time I was 15 years old when we first went out to the United States. So I remember I'm that old that in 1989 we were there at the Berlin Wall when the Berlin Wall was coming down.
Wow.
In my mind, that told me that the world existed outside of Youngstown, Ohio, where I'm from. But I saw people going to the grocery stores who had never seen grocery stores being filled before, going to the Berlin Wall, seeing that international, monumental, historic time. And so at 15 years old, I was like, oh my gosh. And so my musical experience throughout high school, the rest of my year coming after that, I was involved in show choir, and we went to France and Germany and Spain, and we were in Disneyland, and we were doing the Macy's Day parades and stuff like that from Youngstown, Ohio. And so
incredible.
Like, oh my God. And the world.
Who was your instructor that like was that good?
Yeah, her name is Baird, and she's like a second mom to me. She's someone that treated us like her kids. She disciplined us in a way, you know.
Sure.
She on us, but she loved us even today. You know, she's, you know, someone retired now, semi-retired, someone that keeps in touch with us. She's come to see me perform all. She has been someone that has been incredibly important for me. Carol Baird, Dr. Carol Baird, kudos to you. But she was the one. She brought a group of people together in the show choir, and taught us about unity, and it was very races and stuff like that. It was about brotherhood and message. So all experiences contributed to me wanting to travel the world. It started at an early age, and I'm fortunate that I get a chance for my living now.
And I think that's the thing is like you start on this career and you get into it however you get into it, and then eventually people like the most recent mentor you had is the most important. That's the way we tend to think. Like, oh, this coach broke open Bel Canto technique for me, or this conductor made me sing this way. And what we tend to do, or at least what I try not to do rather, is to forget like the OGs, like who got like Karen Combs at Theodore High School, a public high school in Alabama, which the only claim to fame we have is we're a great football school. But no
music stuff,
no music, anything. She was there for 35 years want to talk about the Lord's work, bringing choral, introducing people to choral music, introducing people to not just like your professor, your teacher, like not just music, but art. Like I had no idea what art was. I didn't know that people thought critically. I didn't know how all those things came in together. Like I didn't understand all of those factions of life. And like that like she did that for every single class, you know. And these people are like want to talk about heroes, like
Those are the unsung heroes. Yeah.
yeah, you don't exist, I don't exist. Those like Pavarotti was in the choir first, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like those are
And
the unsung heroes.
I say it all the time that the most important, what, I think about it now because basically, it's one of these things that when we think about how teachers are so important, and I'm a father of two kids, and so when I look at those teachers and I see how they really invest in my kids and how they care, and they did a drive through my neighborhood, basically to beat the horn way back because we're not going back to school this year. And so, but how their lives are forever changed by the people they touch, and how much they care. It's so what they do and what they put into their preparation every day are the most important people. I am here today because of several teachers who really poured into me, cared about who I was as a person, and made sure that I would be okay in the world.
Totally. And by the way, they're doing this for like a minimal salary.
Oh
Like
yeah,
they're
it's
not make like the what we just explained, that person should make 280 grand a year.
insane.
You know what I mean? It's so crazy. So you have this woman who introduces you to like art. You're there. By the way, I was born in 1989. Not to bum you out completely, but the Berlin Wall fell. The Berlin Wall fell 6 days after my birthday, May 29th.
Mm-hmm.
And I always I always jokingly say like I just had to be born to bring peace. You know what I mean? Like they were like Nick Brownlee's in the world. Bring the wall down. Like it's cool. We can have peace now. No, so show choir is obviously not opera, right? So like how when does the opera bug? Well, not necessarily the bug, but what's the introduction to it? Like where does it come from there?
Well, as a part of the program, being in the show choir, I was recognized in my city for a program for gifted music students at Youngstown State University.
Okay.
And basically, what this program was set up to do, whatever your instrument was, I was a singer at that point. I was a singer in high school. You got one semester where you could take music lessons at the university with a graduate student. And at the end of this program, you had to give a recital. So I didn't really know what classical music was. I had done solo. I know in the state of Texas and other places, they like high school music competitions, stuff like that.
Right.
Have those per se, but we did have some men's. I had men's ensemble, and I was choir at school and show choir, and basically I'd had some, my high school show choir, music teacher did give me some classical training. I was like everybody sing tall and not, So
Yeah. Totally.
this program gave you more tools to sing classical. And so at the end of this program, I had to give, with the rest of the people, I had to give a recital or just sing a piece on a recital. And so and I tell people all the time, mocking what I thought an opera sounded like.
Right.
And, basically, after this, people, there was like a standing ovation. And I was
Right.
on, I think it was Tulo Sai.
Yeah.
Tu Sai Quanto Mai.
Bravo.
Completely Tulo, whatever. And
Yeah.
there was an ovation. And that it hadn't been that for anyone else. And so at the end of the program, the recital, there was a gentleman who approached my father and I, and he was, "Who are you? Where are you from?" I mean,
Oh yeah. Right.
and
Yeah.
I, uh, uh, my name is Larry, and
Yeah.
he was like, "I don't know if you know what you have, but you have a gift that people would kill for. You have to pursue this." And he was a voice teacher at that university. His name is David Starkey, and he's probably 88 or 89 today. And I saw him a couple of weeks ago when we were performing right before we stopped at the title in DePaul, and he came down from Bloomington, Indiana now. But he's been someone that is supportive of me throughout. But it was him that discovered that I felt like I had something special that the classical world of be exposed to.
Yeah, and I think that's so funny. I think a lot of us start out just honest to goodness. There are days where I feel like I'm still imitating an opera singer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I
But,
am.
but like that's how a lot of us start. Like I get all these these messages from people, who are like, you know, how do I find resonance? And I'm like, how do you find a rainbow? I don't know. I have no idea. Like,
Right.
it's like, of course, we all know the science and all the pedagogy, but it's all about self-discovery. And so
Mhm.
I think a lot of it starts with like trying to imitate, and then you imitate for years and years and years because you can't unhear, you know, you can't unhear Alfredo Kraus. You've heard him once. He will be in your ear until the end of the day, like
Yeah.
the end of time. And so that's how it sort of starts. And that's so interesting because, you know, I think what you said is so important because it's hard. There's always this question in opera, and especially now because there's not a ton of opportunities, and we're training all these young singers. And is it sort of our moral duty to be like, you're not going to make it, right? That's a big question of like, and how do you say that to someone? Because there's stories like Christine Gerke in the world who was like bagging groceries, and now she's singing Turandot at the Met. So like,
Any
there
of them.
is that level to it, but like there is also, and this might be controversial, but there is a fundamental like, you learned an aria and sang it on a concert with 18 other people, and you were the one who got the standing O. Like, there's something in your throat. There's something, whether it's divine or not, that's another question. I believe it is, but like, there's something about your coordination. It's like an athlete. There's just
Yeah.
something, you had something where you were like, you ran your 40-yard dash, and people were like, he just ran 4.3 and he didn't run straight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't teach, you know?
Right.
You're a big fan of football, and you can't teach someone who's 6'5" and 300 pounds naturally with a little fat. And I mean, that you have some natural attributes that kind of steer you towards what you do. Someone said, how do you choose a career? Sometimes your career chooses you. And so this heard something to me and something in my voice because he had the ears that were attuned, you know, to say this guy has a unique quality that is, you know, specifically suitable for classical music. And so I always believe that is divine. I believe it's the intersection of your preparedness with opportunity, setting, all those things work together, you know, cohesively to make things happen. Why are some of these people discovered? You hear about people knocking on the door, agent, something like that. They can do it all day. Then a chance is the reason why they're discovered. You know, so you just, I feel like there is absolutely a divine element on how we are discovered, and we're in the right time because the timing, if you believe in a faith or something like that, I believe God's timing is what kind of thing up for it to work out.
Totally. And you can sort of, you can go down that path, that sort of inception path as much as you want to about like, oh, what if, like, I used to play the fraud game a lot because I like to play that game because I always feel fraudulent in my art, my singing, because no, like, why am I here? Why me, God? You know, you do that game.
Yeah.
But so when I would do that, you sort of go down this spirally path of like, oh no, like, what if I had not had Karen Combs? What if I was not from Theodore? What if I lived, like, we lived right on the, I'm not kidding, we lived right on the cusp of me going to one school versus the other school. The other school had no music program. What if, right? Who knows?
Yeah.
And the truth is like, you can't spiral yourself out like that because like, you just happen to do this competition, you happen to apply for the gifted program, you have to, you know, and so yeah, I think it's, you said it perfectly, and I'm just recapping, but like, that's the idea. So like, this guy says you have talent. He says like I mean, obviously you got throat, and he says, you know, what do you do now? Are you like, what is opera? Like, what the hell do I like?
I didn't know what opera was. You know, one of these things that, you know, I had some success early on, and you know, I didn't know what I was doing, and I think a lot of times that make you better are sometimes hardship. So I remember, you know, doing a couple and I was a winner. Now, you know, being one of 6 kids, you don't get a big head very, you know, easy.
Yeah.
Head, you know, and I didn't have a big head, but I did competition when I was a sophomore, I think, of my sophomore year in college. It was the regionals of Nats. Everybody knows Nats, right?
For sure.
And I remember this, you know, these 2 guys, and I had
what year college was this?
This was my second year of college.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Actually, this would have been my second or third year of college.
Okay.
5 years of undergrad because I transferred after
Me too. Me too. I think it should take 5 years for the record.
Right. I think there's a lot of positives with that. But I transferred, and then I think it was my second year in my second undergrad.
Right.
But the things about it, I go to this competition and we go to the finals. And in the finals, I get place. And so two guys, and I'm like, okay. And I'm not like ticked off or I didn't think one, but I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Next year, I went back that next Monday. I said, I want the song now. I'm going to go back next year and I'm going to beat the.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Get fired up. I'm in.
I want the song. And so I did that. And so we went back that Monday. And I don't sing this rap, but he gave me, I wanted to sing KJ Anita from La Boheme.
Oh, cool.
And so I went and I was like, I'm going to work on this all year and I'm going to be ready. And I remember that year after when I remember going bus because we went to Toronto. I was in school in Indiana. We went to Toronto because it was all a part of the same region. And on the bus ride there, I was dating a girl that man, I hope those guys aren't there this year.
Right.
I hope those guys aren't there this year.
Sure.
When I step in the door, the first person I see is the guy who won. Like,
oh no.
Crap.
Oh no.
But I was like, okay. And so, and this is meaningful right now. Here's the thing. When I did this competition, the three of us, we made it to the finals again. And so we sing, and at the end of the finals, they had the top three places, and the guy who got second last year got third.
Uh-oh.
First last year got second, and then I got first.
Got him. Let's go. You won with KJ Lita Manita?
Won with KJ Lita Manita, and that was my category.
Bravo.
And they had never done this before. They said, and for this year, we have an overall award for all the singers that sang this week. And I remember sitting next to someone, and at that moment, they said, and the winner of the year is, I looked on stage, and they said my name, and I was like, so for the whole thing, won for that year. And then this is the really important point. After everything was done, we got a chance to talk to some of the judges. There was a teacher who told me, said, let me tell you something. She said, I want to talk to your teacher right now. She was like, this, you sang one, but this is not your repertoire. This is not what you should be singing. So it's important that you have a very special gift, and your teacher has to treat you with white gloves.
Right.
Like vividly. And so she said, where's your teacher? And I saw him, and I said, come over here. So she said, my teacher said, you have this kid who has an immense talent. You can't mess him up. He shouldn't be singing this. And my teacher said, yeah, I know, but he was so excited about it, I didn't want, to
kill the enthusiasm. Of course.
Enthusiasm. So I said, okay. He said, okay. So he listened to her, and we went back that Monday to school, and he gave me the aria from the Barber of Seville. He said, take this away and learn it. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But I want to die on stage, and I want to do all these other things.
Yes, sure.
Bel
I mean, I'm sure you listen to the Three Tenors, and you're like, can I just do Verter?
Right. I'm like, la solitaria del pastor, whatever. I don't care. Sure. But I went away for a week or so, and I brought back Barber of Seville, Eco Ridente. So I'm singing it, Eco Ridente. And my teacher's like, sing that again? I was like, Eco Ridente. He was like, oh my gosh, this is what you were born to sing. And that's what is Bel Canto.
That's incredible. You've made a little money doing that aria. So that's great. That is incredible. Listen, by the way, and I think everyone who watches this, like, if you just want to throw us a little KJ Lita video from back in the Nats days, like, we're great. I bet it's the best C ever.
Oh my gosh. They were doing that live. Yeah, you guys did the La Esperanza challenge and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm like, I put on some really, really tight underwear that day, and I just tried to sing as high as I could, but
I think that's all we're trying to do is just put on tight underwear and sing as high as we can. But that is fascinating. So, like, so like now your bel canto journey has started, right?
Yeah, the beginning. And so,
Wow.
it's one of these things that, I discovered a whole world that I didn't know existed, and at that time you mentioned the three tenors, but yeah, a lot of these things were coming out like, you know, um, it's one of those things, what do you call it? The three tenors CD in Dodger Stadium and the Caracalla or stuff like
Yeah,
that
sure.
during that time. And that is what was famous as far as like tenor music. You had stuff from Mario, yeah, but bel canto music wasn't, you know, there was an era before with Rocco Blair,
Totally. Totally.
that was the time, and at the time I was starting my professional career is when there was an explosion with Juan Diego Flores. And so that he and I are this, but he started years before I did really make a name for himself.
Well,
So
and I think that that's so interesting because we had the big bel canto blow up
yeah,
with Richard Bonney and John
thank,
Feather, right? And then it just went away, and it was just like a healthy diet of like Carmen and Toscas for
no,
late '80s through all the '90s. And
yeah,
that's so fascinating to hear you say that because that's like you, in a certain sense, and I'm not the first to say this about you guys, but in a certain sense, I really believe it. Like Camarena and Flores, that school, like you got. I'm in Germany. Look at that three. You guys, Lord have mercy. You guys are you. Not to put too much pressure on you, but like you were the next three tenors in my mind. Like save save the big $1 million concerts and stuff, which I'm sure you'd be happy to do. Just call Larry. Um, but like you guys were that, and for me, what is so fascinating is like another thing I saw you in, and Armida. Like, how many times are you going to get to see Armida? You know what I
yeah,
mean? And so I think that's what's so fascinating about this sort of bel canto resurgence because bel canto it's good and it's been
yeah,
revived now in this new. You can have all your opinions about Regie Teatre that you want, but like, give me a normal Tosca, give me a weird bel canto
mm-hmm,
production. And so I think directors too, because bel canto operas tend to be so problematic dramatically because people
yeah,
weren't really thinking about that. They're like, I don't know, the birth of like I just saw Rossini Otello in Frankfurt and it was incredible.
mm-hmm,
So so like we I always feel like when you're doing when I'm singing bel canto, which is very rare because I'm not good at it. Um, because eventually coloratura will raise its ugly head and I'll have to figure it out and I don't want to. But like when you're doing that, I just feel like when I'm singing bel canto, and I wonder if you feel the same, like I feel like I'm doing like opera. I feel like, and that's hard to explain and maybe silly to say, but like when I'm sort of screaming out Freischütz or Wagner, it's a different
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
When
yeah.
I'm singing bel canto, it's like this is voice, 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 but voice, voice, voice. I mean, is that kind of how you feel?
Well, some people think that, with all due respect to, of course, Puccini and Verdi and Wagner and Mozart, I mean, they're different animals. But, my 20-year career has been, pretty much only bel canto music. And some of the most exhilarating performances that I've even witnessed being staged from my colleague have been bel canto operas done.
Totally.
And that's the thing. I've done Semidamide. I've done that. I've done, I did Armida, as you mentioned before. I did, um, Turk in Italy and some of these other, with the vocal mastery that you have to have in this, and hearing someone like Joyce sing, you know,
Sure.
hearing someone, like Alessandro Corbelli do
Yeah.
the incredible patter that,
Yeah.
world
Yeah.
can do.
Yeah.
In Pesaro not that long ago, and one of my he sang Magnifico like incredibly. Once you can do that and see it in its truest element and see mastery, few things can match that. And so, bel canto done well, I think it really can compete with anything. And so, I want to do. I'm good friends with Michael Spires, Angela Mead,
Sure.
and we had me on it. And now, one of the things we're trying to do is get theater to do it. And some of these think they're lesser known, so they don't think they'll sell as well. But I want them to do something. Some of these titles that they did in the past, it doesn't have to be a huge production. I think an opera done well with singers, because we have them, I think it really is something special, and I hope to get a chance to do some more rare titles.
I mean, I certainly agree with you. I think that there is a degree, listen, we're all sort of, you're in the position as a singer to be an influencer and to be a taste maker. And so like you're in that position where you can sort of say to a certain degree, like a theater will say, Larry, what do you want to do next? Now, that doesn't mean they're going to do a deep cut Bellini, but maybe they will. And so like you're in that position now where you get to kind of say that stuff. And I think that is so important because they are worthwhile. And listen, we all know the videos of Corelli, right?
Oh, yeah.
We drink them in. It's incredible. I get it. Like big, beefy, big. If I could wake up every morning and exclusively listen to fat, big B flats, I would be a great day.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Bel Canto hits you in a different way, and it hits you in a sort of more mysterious way. It's not so obvious,
Right.
And so when you
nuanced, I mean, if you think of people like when you listen to Rockwell Blake and something that he did, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, Blake, he's saying, what was it? L'occasione fa il ladro.
Yeah.
Yes, can't do it. You're like a tank on his side. You're like, he sang that B flat for 27 seconds.
He did. The Tucker Gala video. It's incredible.
It's going. So when you see these amazing people talking about it all the time, when you go to live theater and, even when I think I've done the Puritani and I've, like, again, put on very, very tight underwear and done, the high F.
Bravo.
I think people go to the theater, hear things that you don't hear every day.
Right.
And when you hear these things that you don't hear, you can hear a lot of bohèmes and a lot like that. When you hear a Bel Canto opera done well with things that people just can't easily, that's when your mind is like, oh my gosh, it's really blown. And so, again, this is why I'm hoping that we get a chance to do these wonderful things, because they're extremely hard to can do them. I think they're incredibly impressive.
Well, I think the major issue that no one wants to talk about is, like you said it, they're hard as hell. Like you got to have, like we're doing Roberto Devereaux here in my theater, and like thank God we just so happened to have the perfect cast for it, and like that's the reason we decided to do it. It wasn't like, oh, we're gonna, like, you program Tosca and then you figure it out. Like, yeah, I'm touching into David Lamelli's casting cup a little bit, but like when you decide to do Puritani, you better have that bitch cast. Like, well, the thing is, you're ready to roll.
I mean, but it's one of these things. It's one of these operas, and I think people who are casting, understand. It first starts with the voice, okay? It first starts with the voice. You got that. You can't just say we're going to do a Puritani. You got to say we got to have an Elvira, we got to have Puro, we got to have a Ricardo, and we have you have to have then you could have the Queen to be written in a way more people can do it, because you have to have 4 singers who have to sing 4 major arias, else, or else the opera falls. Period. And so there are many operas like this. Many of them are in the Bel Canto repertoire. You can't do Armida have 5 tenors who can really sing. You can't even do it. You can't do Rossini's Otello unless you have 3 to 4 tenors who really sing.
I mean, that can like really sing, and like it's the same. Like you think about, like, when people are like, "Oh, just do Norma." You got to have a hell of a Norma. You got to have an incredible Adalgisa. Polione is that in between nonsense, huge tenor posing as a Bel Canto tenor. Like the Orveso is hard to sing. Like, it's all it takes such skill and such mastery. And so I think the big, like, that's sort of the scary thing is, like, I think people don't do it a lot because they're scared of it. And I don't know.
If you can cast them, and the thing, here's the thing too, and I'm not speaking for all my colleagues, but because I can't do that. If you can cast them, you have to go after names that can do it. And a lot times to bring a certain level of anger all together to do something that becomes a little bit problematic.
Yep.
But singers like myself who really want to do this repertoire are, again, I'm not speaking for everyone, are willing to be able to even take less, make
Yep.
this a reality to say, I want to do this piece for as a project.
Yep.
I want to Hermione, I want to do Zelmira, I want to do Otello, I want to do that is never done. Bring us together and we can create something hopefully that's memorable. Then, you know, we may all be together the next time, but it could be one of these things that to have a shelf life.
And I couldn't agree with you more. And I think that in my humble opinion is sort of the key to reviving. We always talk about reviving opera and all this stuff that we say, but for me it's more important that like we revive the middle class of opera in America, like middle level opera. Like right now there's 5 companies we know, and then there's all these amazing, extraordinary, great companies that I think the way to revive them is like, you know, you go to Atlanta. Larry said he'll come, so Tomer, look him up. You go to Atlanta and you headline the Puritani, and then like a bunch of young singers get to do it with this extraordinary singer. You know what I mean? Like you have that 1-star vacuum to then feed in like the other, like maybe Ariana Chuchman wants to do her first big Bel Canto thing or whatever. Like you're seeing that, you know, at places like the One Festival in Omaha. It got canceled, unfortunately. But they were going to do some Bellini. They were going to do, I forget. What was it?
The Sonambula.
Sonambula. Nailed it the first time. God, you're a Bel Canto singer. You nailed it.
Well, Bellini
is Sonambula. Bravo. Bravo. They were going to do Sonambula. Of course, it got canceled, but it was like Daniela Mack and like Ariana Chuchman, and like it was going to be a good cast. And so like ushering in that new wave of Bel Canto is so good. So like having said all that about Bel Canto, now I want to get under the hood. You know, I've heard you sing a lot live. I've been lucky enough to be in the audience a lot, and in some cases lucky enough to go out to dinner at a nasty diner in New York with you after you sing. So listen, objective beauty is hard in opera, okay? Objective vocal quality and tone is one thing. But I think that it is safe to say, I'll only speak for myself. I am always blown away as a student of the game and loving it, and a singer myself, and feeling like I have a pretty good technical facility and understanding of it. I don't know how you have enough blade and it's still pretty. Like Bel Canto is not supposed to be both. You know what I mean? Like, how do you manage to? Because listen, absolutely zero disrespect to Juan Diego and to Camarena and to that school, but your sound is just different. And it's just so like velvet and honey and all those annoying ass words, but it is that. How does that work?
You know, I had teachers early on who told me to with your voice, and it has to come from somewhere within, and it has to be, you know, people want to hear the shine in your voice, and it has to be something not copied or not put on or something that's yours. Everything that I do comes from a place. I try to do it just to be authentic. It is my sound. You know, my voice teacher had some incredible voice teachers. My most recent, I've been with a long time, Costanza Kukura. I went to university.
You know, she was my wife. My wife went to Indiana. That's my wife.
Yeah.
Teacher, old voice teacher. Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Great technical teacher, and she was just like, we never manufacture sound. Your sound has to be a natural thing. She talks about singing on the breath and letting the natural beauty, the natural strengths of what your sound, your voice is, come out. And so that's the thing I've always tried to do and never tried. I try to have a uniform sound from top to bottom and just, you know, it sound that when you hear it, it is a dark color, call it for the time. So people, I remember early on, like singing a different repertoire voice, I know that that's fine. You know, but I sing my voice, I try to use my voice to max potential, you know, that it's heard in the Met, that it's heard in Covent Garden, that it's heard without trying to force it or something like that. I just try to make sure that my voice is always on the breath and out here and never inside. You know, so
That's so fascinating because it seems like when I try to do that. Look, I'm a bass baritone, but like I
yeah,
know that when I teach other tenors, when I work with them, like all I'm ever worried about, because I think Blade wins. Blade wins. On a bad day, Blade wins. When you have sinuses, Blade wins. When the conductor's heavy-handed, Blade wins. Just be heard,
yeah,
first and foremost. And
yeah.
so I always sort of cheat that, and I guess like that's why I feel so like frustrated when I hear you sing, because I'm like, that's beautiful and it's loud enough. And so I think that is so fascinating to me to hear you say
You
that,
know,
because do what?
go ahead, go ahead.
No.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
So I every time I think about that, I all of a sudden when I'm like, oh, I'm gonna sing pretty, like let me pull out some leader, like we're all in a quarantine. Let me do art, you know? And I pull it out, and all of a sudden it's just like, oh, 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 oh. And next thing you know,
Right.
it's like there's a wet sock in the back of my throat. So, like, like, where does the beauty start? I mean, you say it's just your voice, but I think, let's think of someone not singing. Let's think of a Kraus, right? So we're not talking about your colleagues. We're talking about people gone.
Yeah.
Kraus, like, I know a lot of tenors when they watch this are going to be, it's ugly. Like, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But like kind of ugly, and like it's so masky, and I mean all the things, right? It's so forced, but like you don't somehow you get away with not doing that, and that always baffles me.
You know, somebody said to me before, like, they said that Pavarotti used to look at his tone. His tone would be here.
Yeah.
And if you're doing this, it's not. Pavarotti would look at his tone. So his tone was ASCII, call it. Kraus, you know, I have a friend of mine that I studied with in the said that Kraus had like few vowels, like two vowels, and that was the vowel he.
Totally.
And so, look, the interesting thing about Kraus, who I love Kraus, he was born on the same birthday, November 24th. So 1927, I was born in 1972, same birthday, November.
Incredible.
He's an incredibly, or was a incredibly elegant singer, a beautiful. You know, his sound is what it is, but he made music. There are other people, you know, this is respect to Raul Jimenez, who was another person who was just a really, really elegant singer.
Yeah.
Whatever tools, people have the sheer beauty of voice, and say, okay, well, they're not always well. So, but I always try to maximize who I am. I started on instruments, so you know my musicianship hopefully is at a certain level. Plus, trying to use my God-given voice or my sound to combine them together and to make it uniquely mine. So, if I'm singing Rossini, if I'm singing leader, hopefully, if somebody comes and sings their same program 5 minutes behind me, it should be different because I'm doing something for me. But I'm just using the strengths of what I have to make what it is, and so it's really different because of my color of the voice or the color.
Yeah, sure.
It's all those things together to make who I am as an artist. So that's what I try to do it out, and I'm never copying anything. I'm never, you know, I do a lot of singers, and I hopefully am like a sponge to take elements from all these different people. But if I don't feel it here, it has to be felt here first for it to come out of this.
Totally. Wow, what a freaking great answer. What an eloquent, wonderful answer. No, I would love, this is where I would love people like you, people like, who's someone else, people who at Troy Cook, speaking of technical facility, like, these people, that's the kind of thing where, like, I wish that you would just, like, get in a room with no one else, just get in a room by yourself and be like, here's what I think on F sharp. Like, maybe I'm a nerd and maybe no one would watch it, but that's some content that I would salivate for. Like, I would love to know what you think in that Don Sebastian phrase that goes up super high. Like, what are you doing? Like, I said this in the trailer, but I don't even know how you're abducting the chords to just shoot up like that, you know?
You know, when I'm singing, I'm not thinking super, because I think that just like other things that I I'm a big fan of photography. I'm a big fan of tennis. I'm a big fan of other disciplines that I feel like you can't be thinking technique. Technique has to be settled in inside you.
Right.
And so my teacher, she talks about like making sure the voice is unified from top to bottom. So how do you approach the top? Making sure that, she talks about people over singing in the middle, which can't access the top. I want to make sure that my access to the top is never blocked. And if it's a top, it's because I'm doing something before I get there. Top, because I already know any aria that I'm singing, I have facility or the capacity to perform. But if I'm having trouble for some reason, there has to be a reason before why can't you run it because you didn't stretch it. Why can't you do X, Y, and Z? Because if you miss one of the steps along the way, you won't be able to do it.
Because if the B natural's bad, it's because you sang a page and a half ago. You sang 3 G's wide open.
Yeah.
Like, right.
I didn't say this when I do master classes, and I try to get people to understand it's not some type of. I tell people to reset the vocal mechanism. What does that mean? That means that in the breath before, you get every bit of tension out so you can make sure that you can access what you have afterwards. Because you can't take this pressure and this stress of before and go on to something else. You have to release all that stuff and start anew. So I know that that's coming on the page after that. If I take all the stuff of the Sadra singing and that really, really difficult stuff, if I don't just get all the crap out, that B flat. So I got to make the approach to that is set up so the thing that people are waiting for really is vibrant, colorful, and so that's what resetting the vocal mechanism, all the crap out, the tension gone, taking the good, make sure that you are as relaxed as possible and access the note or the phrase do the way as best as possible.
Yeah, I think that's excellent advice, and it's one thing to do in front of a piano, right? With just it's another thing to do when David McVicker is asking you to roll around on the ground. So like now, then that's a whole nother level of like integrating it into your system and like releasing and dropping. I know there are times in performances where I get so lit and so excited, and I'm just like screaming my face off, and then there's this moment where you snap out for 5 milliseconds and you think, bro, chill out, it's a long night. And so it's just like get back down into that body, big fella. Listen, I think we're sort of running out of time.
My teacher, she always says cool head, warm heart, not hot head and cool heart.
I love that. That's beautiful. We're sort of running out of time, but I just want to take this last 5 minutes to tell you something interesting, a cool story you might enjoy. I don't know if you remember or not. You were a young artist at Wolf Trap, right? Is that right? So I don't know if you remember patrons from there named the Von Reisenbergs.
Yeah, Stephanie.
Yeah. So my friend was staying with them when I was at Wolf Trap, and we were in patron, So I came in one day in 2013, that summer. I came in one day and she was like, "Oh, I just received Larry's new Spiritual Sketches CD in 2013 when it dropped with Damien." And I was like, "Oh, like I know Larry. I've seen him sing a lot, but like I don't know, Spiritual Sketches like." And we sat down, put it in a CD player, by God, and we listened to it from start to finish. It's 38 minutes. We listened to it from start to finish, and I just like wept the entire time like an idiot in front of owners. And that for that summer, that was like the third week of the 12 weeks, marathon that is Wolf Trap. That was that Spiritual Sketches album was our theme song. I introduced it to every single person in the company. It was like our theme song. And like that moment in All Night, All Day, where you hold the B flat forever and there's nothing underneath you, and then you just hit the big, I mean, really, that album meant so much to me, and it meant so much to all of 2013 Wolf Trap. I mean, it did. And I remember, like, one of my favorite memories is, do what?
I said that's sweet. I mean, that's kind that you said. That project for me, I tell people all the time, I grew up in that type of music, and so Damien, who I think is a mastermind, very brilliant, mind. we came together and we collaborated on this project. We wanted to include elements of classical, but also gospel, some jazz, some rhythms and stuff like that, and to kind of be, transport the spiritual part of our heritage in African American into this century and let people enjoy it. So I've had the best time performing it. A lot of people that I have a son who's 9 years old who's autistic. I
Yeah.
dedicate all to him. I call it Caleb's son, Caleb's song, and it's that's very meaningful to me. And there have been many concerts where people have said this means a lot. Just one guy said, "I lost my daughter last year," and he was to the point of tears. So much so, not to give myself any credit because I don't look at Damien is a big part of why that song has been successful, but it means a lot to me and I from my heart.
Yeah, no doubt. And it is sort of like I'm from the South. My mom makes the best fried pork chops you ever eaten in your life. But like, I'm real Southern in that way. And so it felt to me like if my mom's recipes were done by like a French trained Michelin chef. And it was like all of mom's love was in it, but all of the technique and the skill and the craftsmanship of the French chef was done in his way. And it was this perfect marriage that like I thought like even down to the diction, like it's spirituals, right? So I'm sure you had the question of like, am I gonna leave off T's? Am I gonna say all the words? But I thought you got that right. Right. I thought you got that right. Like you elevated it in the most honest, like good, beautiful way. And like my story sounds very stupid now after the guy who told you who lost the daughter. But I remember sitting in the Starbucks and I was writing my like cards to each individual person as like a goodbye. You spend 12 weeks, like all these showmances, the whole thing. And I'm writing my goodbye cards to everyone. And I listened to your album and I was sitting in a Starbucks in Tyson's Corner, just weeping like a baby, listening to you and writing these like, I'll see you again. This summer meant so much to me.
About authenticity, and that's the main thing. When Damien, when he wrote these or composed these, he took the old music, composed it. We talked about authenticity, and so the fact that I was born in 1972, I didn't grow up in an era where we didn't speak way, and so I could try to do that, but it's real and authentic. Use the language that we have. My ancestors didn't have education, but we do. It was important for us to do it that was honest and authentic, something that still had elements of what they lived through in the past. So when we did spiritual sketches,
and you can hear every one of those thoughts, and it's so thoughtful. Well, look, man, you're world class, and you're in Niceville, Florida, I think. Is that true?
People have to know we're cousins, right?
They have to know. They have to know. By the way, we're getting all these comments that is like Brownlee's the best ever. Brownlee's the GOAT, and I'm like, me or him? Like, who is
Brownlee right there?
For sure. Well, look, man, cross the bridge into Destin and go to Jim and Nick's barbecue.
Yeah.
Get you some food, and man, thank you so much for doing this, and it brings a lot of light.
The best with this, it's a wonderful podcast, and I know that you're teaming with Dallas Opera, and I'm so sad, I didn't get a chance to. I was really looking forward to debuting Dallas Opera, and so hopefully the opportunity arises in the future for me to be able to meet there too. And so the best in Germany and all of your endeavors. And so I wish you well. I spent time with you today.
Vibes, man. I appreciate it. We'll talk soon. All right.
All right.
See you.
Thank you.